In today's video, I want to show you a time lapse of my latest fan art based on the movie Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea. I'll also share some fun little details, explain the interesting reasons behind creating this artwork, and talk about a few challenges I faced, as well as some achievements and new techniques I picked up during the process. Imagine this artwork starting right where the movie ends. We see Ponyo and Sosuke going home on their boat, meeting friends along the way. These friends are like hidden surprises in the artwork. If you know the movie well, you'll spot these little details. I made this artwork for a special contest that I set up just for my friends, who are all good at 3D art. We've had this kind of contest 5 or 6 times before, but this time we added some new rules to make it harder. Also, this is the first time we're giving away a real prize instead of just money collected from everyone who joins. Before, our contests were all about one theme, and everyone could create whatever they felt like related to that theme. This freedom meant people could put in as much or as little effort as they wanted. Some just made a simple image, while others went into a lot of detail. The main goal of these contests was to have fun and get better at 3D art, not just to win. But this freedom made it hard to judge because everyone's work was so different. Some would make amazing scenes that didn't quite fit the theme, or some could only manage a simple picture because they didn't have enough time. Having a real prize and a set of specific rules, giving everyone a clearer goal to do their best. After many contests, we found out that to be fair, we needed to set limits, not on what people could create, but on how they created it. By making sure everyone used the same camera angles or animation styles, it was easier to judge the work fairly. One of the best contest formats I've seen was run by Punisher, a YouTuber known for his 3D rendering challenges that offer big prizes. Like our contests, his early ones were open-ended, letting participants submit anything from videos to still images. I participated in these a couple of times and even got mentioned during some of his live streams. Over time, Punisher tightened the rules, setting specific limits on things like camera angles, animation styles, and themes. These changes made the contests more professional and helped make judging fairer by clearly defining what was expected. What I've learned is that it's important not to restrict creativity too much, but it's just as important to have clear technical guidelines to make judging simpler. My contest format is quite similar to Punisher's, but I've added my own set of rules. For example, in this format the camera is fixed, but the main character can move within a certain area. This allows for unique animations but keeps the scoring fair. Without these limits, the wide range of animations, like flying or driving, would make it hard to judge fairly because of their differences. Fairness is key, so limiting how far participants can go is essential. The contest usually lasts between 2 to 3 months, which is longer than necessary, but our busy work schedules mean that we only have time to be creative at night. Not everyone can work on weekends either, as that's usually reserved for family time. This time around, my creative process was also live streamed for the first time, totaling about 60 hours. My daily input ranged from just 30 minutes to several hours after dark. The results of the competition were shared online and within our circle of friends, using a format that compiled all participants' submissions into a seamless montage. Each participant's piece was displayed for 5 seconds before smoothly transitioning to the next. Returning to the artwork, I chose Ponyo on the cliff by the sea as the theme for this contest. I was motivated by the joy of participation rather than the competitive aspect, which led me to choose fan art. Although fan art typically isn't praised for innovation, since it doesn't involve creating an entirely new concept, I found it an effective time saver. Developing a brand new piece from scratch, including the concept, color scheme, and modeling, could have taken up a significant portion of the contest time, maybe even up to a third or half. I usually find inspiration in existing media, like movies or games, which have already been extensively developed in terms of research, design, and color planning. Using these resources helps me dive into my creative process, even if it sometimes means sacrificing a bit of originality. In this project, my fan art focused on the movie Ponyo, a film I greatly admire. I spent about 2 days developing the concept and starting the artwork. The concept involved kitbashing multiple images or screenshots from the movie and piecing them together. from my experience, the beginning phase of creating art is the toughest and most time-consuming. It's like starting to ride a bike uphill. The beginning is always the hardest, but once you get going, things move faster and get easier. Once the concept is in place, the rest of the project tends to proceed much more smoothly and swiftly. That's why I emphasize the need to make the conceptual phase as efficient as possible. I've discovered that changing my surroundings can greatly enhance my ability to come up with ideas. Whether it's going to a cafe or just relaxing in my living room instead of sitting at a computer desk. I often browse Pinterest on my iPad for inspiration. When a good idea hits, I go back to my desk to develop it further. Interestingly, this project was also my first foray into live streaming. Choosing to create fan art, I picked a straightforward project to lessen the stress of live streaming. Live streaming comes with its challenges, from managing software and network connections to ensuring everything operates smoothly. A more complex project would have been difficult to manage alongside the stream. These experiences have greatly enhanced my understanding of participating in contests. I now often use online resources for my projects to significantly cut down on time spent. In past contests, I would spend nearly a month creating just one character for a 3-month contest, only to discover that the character occupied a tiny portion of the final visual display, making the extensive effort seem almost pointless. As a result, I started using digital assets that are easily available, purchasing them when they are cost-effective, to focus more on the crucial aspects of my projects. Since I'm paid hourly, I can precisely calculate the value of my time. Investing in assets to save time is not only practical, it's also economically smart. There's a common belief that buying digital assets is lavish. However, I find that such purchases are usually wise financial decisions, particularly for time-sensitive contests. I mostly download the assets I need, and I buy them only when there are no suitable free options. For this project, I downloaded most of the transportation elements, like distant boats, for free since they were minor parts of the overall composition. The boat featuring Ponyo was also downloaded and then customized to suit the scene. I acquired all necessary vehicles through downloads, making necessary adjustments, which saved a lot of time. The 3D model of Sosuke that comes with textures is actually a purchase. I also occasionally use AI to craft smaller details. For example, in this piece, I included Sosuke's mom, and I wanted her to drive her specific car model, which I couldn't find a 3D model for. So I used AI to create the car model by specifying the brand and model numbers. Originally, I planned to create fan art from a scene in Area T. However, while setting up the 3D scene, I realized that the camera speed and angle were not suitable for this theme. Eventually, I switched to creating fan art based on Ponyo, because its broad scenes and dynamic elements like fast-moving boats and grand landscapes aligned better with the look I wanted to achieve. One accomplishment I'm particularly proud of is developing a new style of billboard shader. The art style in Ponyo is reminiscent of crayon drawings, simple, vibrant, and childlike. I attempted to recreate this effect with shaders in Blender, and was fairly pleased with the results. Although it doesn't exactly replicate the original, it captures the playful and whimsical quality of a child's drawings. I also tried to create a cloud effect using the particle system, which didn't fully meet my expectations, but was still a valuable learning experience. To improve this, I would need to completely redo the current workflow and use a full geometry node setup to more effectively render the clouds. The existing particle system has difficulty with transparency, causing many rendering problems. Additionally, I explored the Tawan Sunflower Cloud shader, which handles transparency well, improving the hand-painted look of the clouds by ensuring they are rendered in the correct order from far to near, a task that is challenging with particle systems. I've considered using a full geometry node method, like Tawan Sunflower, to scatter planes and ensure the correct rendering order, which would offer a more accurate and polished finish to the visual effects. This is something I hope to explore further in the future. Currently, I'm quite happy with the system I've set up using the particle system to spread out planes, creating a hand-drawn look. I've shared this method in a video tutorial that teaches how to make shaders for anime-style trees. This technique wasn't my original idea. I enhanced the method I picked up from Lightning Boy Studio. His tutorial showed how to make anime trees with geometric shapes, which works well for trees in the background. But for trees in the foreground that need clear brush strokes and detailed leaves, using geometric shapes wasn't effective. I did more research and found techniques in Unreal Engine 5 and Unity, specifically billboard foliage, where planes always face the camera. I used this idea in Blender with the particle system to create an improved system. Not only does it reflect the method from Lightning Boy Studio, but it also includes a brushstroke blur effect around the edges to mimic a hand-painted style. However, to get the best results, using geometry nodes would be ideal. As a finishing touch, I'm adding outlines to all the objects in the scene. For most objects, particularly those with simple shapes or those in the background, I use the Solidify modifier since it's both efficient and lightweight. For more complex objects like Ponyo's hair, I use an add-on called the Line Art modifier. This geometry nodes tool is specifically designed to convert 3D objects into line art, creating clean and detailed outlines. I also wanted to include visual effect in this piece, as any kind of visual effects can really make your art stand out. This artwork features several visual effect elements, such as the flame from a candle, water splashing at the side of the boat, and even helicopter blades spinning in the distance. Most of these visual effect techniques are achieved through manipulating modifiers, shaders, and even the object's UV mapping. And that wraps up the time-lapse of my Ponyo fan art. I hope you found the video helpful and enjoyable. If you have any questions or want to share your creations, please leave a comment below or reach out to me on social media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Until next time, keep creating and have fun with your art.